everybody. It's your girl, Leah Renee.
And Sheree.
And we're joined today by Sylvia and Jacob, owners of the Lowrider Cafe downtown in Toledo. Local spot. Like we told you guys before, we're going to be filming right from their spot. On this first episode, we're going to talk about the coronavirus, obviously, because that's what we all, as a nation, as a world, as a city, as a community, we're all dealing with this.
All right, let's get into speaking of business, you guys were a small business, a local business. I mean, you have one restaurant. You guys opened up how long ago?
August the 6th of last year.
Of last
Oh,
year.
wow.
I mean, we're
So
not
y'all haven't even opened a
You
year.
guys haven't even opened a year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
y'all survived this?
We survived. Yes.
That's amazing.
How do you think how?
Thank God for social media. First of all, thank God. And
Come on.
he's the first one we
Thank
gotta
God.
give thanks to.
First and foremost.
Yes.
You know, when we opened,
Right.
I'd have to say Facebook, social media, and then later on we jumped on Instagram, so that really got the word out. It was Toledo to Go was designed so people would post to say, business owners would post, hey, we're open today from such and such, or other people post, hey, where can I go get some tacos? Where can I go get some spaghetti? Who delivers? Who does curbside? And you just had all kinds of people in the 419 area just posting up their
419.
food,
Awesome.
saying, hey, Lowrider Cafe has enchiladas, who has this? And so that just really opened.
that's
In fact,
Social
Great
media tool, I mean, it's really about what you make it. Like if you are a small business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone who's trying to promote or, just market any type of business or brand or anything, I mean, social media is where it's at,
But this is something that God put on your heart to do. So anybody that's close to you and really know you both, they will see
Right.
Lowrider as you.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's not a disturbance in their connection with you. It should be more of a bigger connection. Like, to
right.
me, that's one of those things like, Leah Renee and I putting this together. It's like those that really truly have stood by our side and understand our passion and drive, they're gonna stand with us, not wonder why we're not coming around or
Right.
answering their calls because we're in the middle of recording a show or something like that. So I that's one thing that's powerful because before coronavirus, I think you were saying like, you gotta put your blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Oh, God.
Right?
Absolutely.
You lose people.
Yeah. Mhm.
More than, I say, 5 or 6 people told me, you guys are going to succeed with no alcohol.
Oh, wow.
And,
That's what my guy to do is like,
and
right?
the other thing was, you should open on Sundays. I said, we're not going to open on Sundays either. We want to make it our day, our family
Come on.
time. It's going to be our time to rest in the Lord and
Yes.
to go out and do
Right.
things as a couple and with the family. And so a
Good
lot of
church.
people said, how are you going to do it? That's the money making day. I said, no, that's the God day. That's the God
Chick-fil-A is
ordained
doing
day. To keep
okay.
it, and-
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A
and
is
you know
doing
what?
just fine. But can we get into relationships?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think we
I mean,
can talk
Commercial break.
because this is affected, right? Relationships.
Yeah. So what would you say has been the most challenging thing for you guys since all of this? And not even just since the coronavirus per se, but since you
The
started the
business
business,
together,
period.
For me,
Real talk, y'all.
For me, is time alone with Jacob. We used to have a date night, and I feel like that's been eliminated because
Yeah.
the business has kind of overtaken that, and I still, want that, and so I will have to guard that time, and I'll tell him, we need to have that, or like our, every 3 months, our quarterly getaways, how
Yeah.
important that was to me, and that also has not been happening. But I'll tell you one thing, Memorial Weekend, I said, you know what, Lord, I'm gonna fight for this. I'm gonna steal him away, and I'm gonna fight for this.
I kept my mouth shut. I said, I'm just going to give her all my attention.
Because I told him,
Wow.
I need your time.
Yes.
I said everything was like time robbing, and I need your time because the business will steal your time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I said, please. And so he honored me with that. I came back like the happiest woman ever, ever. Just that one weekend,
But I
right?
will say though, she did mention date nights, and once we opened the business, it got a little more challenging than coronavirus. And what do you do now? I mean, there's
Right.
no more movie theaters. There's
Right.
no more restaurants you go
He
dine
took it
out.
all
And
away.
so that became very challenging.
Yes.
So yeah, we go out and we drive around and go to Gordon's Foods and maybe pick up some stuff and grab dinner and go eat it down by the river. But that really wasn't considered wasn't normal date night anymore. So that became very challenging.
That's still more than what some of us have. So that's still romantic to me. Like,
Yeah,
I know, but I get what you're saying. But seriously, that's like when you learn to appreciate those things, right?
Exactly.
Especially in a time like this. It's,
Exactly.
yeah.
But it was aggravating at times. There was moments where we were like agitated because we couldn't really do much.
Right, and I think, you know, one of the other things is, we had to lay some employees off. We cut one down to part-time, another one volunteering, so that put a bigger workload on her and I. And when you have that extra amount of workload on you, and then you're not doing the things that you used to do, the date nights or, the other things, so we would kind of like,
How do you solve arguments in a time like this?
I think, you know, most people say the biggest thing too is like communication, you know, like,
Yes.
it's so important to communicate,
Yes,
you know,
right.
and instead of, just, you know, catching an attitude and walking off or just being, you know, like, oh, and I'm not gonna talk to you for the rest of the day, like, it's telling him.
That's the word.
Well, and I think it's, you know, also tone. Tone to me is
Oh,
everything.
definitely.
You know, when a man raises his voice, it's like, whoa, like I just go, whoa, my spine just, you know, like,
Uh-huh.
And I think even us too, because us
Mhm.
women, we can have like a very
We can
sharp
project
tone,
it,
and
too.
we get. I mean, I even know
Catty,
me
a little catty.
particularly,
Little catty.
like my attitude is not. You know, it can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. You
And
know,
I think, you know,
So-
like Jacob and I talked about it, past hurts from
Yeah.
previous
Yes,
relationships.
absolutely.
Don't
Trigger
even get
us.
us started.
And there's
Triggers,
and there's-
triggers.
Yeah, triggers, and there's things
That's
that
right.
we are still working through.
Yeah,
You know, and like I told Jacob, it's like we both need to come to an agreement, not allow those things to enter this relationship. What the past is the past. We don't look back, but
Right.
what's important is this relationship. It's all that matters.
Working on things
Right.
in the past is important. I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
We have to.
So I was
We
in a
have to.
relationship during COVID, or you know, through COVID, and
Right.
it's ended at this point. And I think that's what it was. I know that's what it was, and we won't get personal, but coronavirus kind of put us in a space that we had to meet some challenges that hadn't been resolved from the past. And you can't take your past. Don't be holding. And I understand you've been hurt. I understand it ain't no all men or all women do this or that type scenario. It's not.
No.
I got some. Now I'm not even gonna say it was.
We
just
all have
him.
skeletons.
I got some
Absolutely.
skeletons, and I have a counselor that I talk to, and that's one of those things
Me
I
as
think.
well.
Yeah, Lee and
I'm
I
not a
want to
therapist.
talk about that one day.
Mhm.
Yeah, like in couples, it's okay. I mean, y'all would agree having a
I've
counselor.
been in therapy for like, I think I was in therapy for anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
it's
yes.
okay,
It-
and it's
is.
okay.
And actually, I think
It's
it's
an
very
improvement.
important to do that before you, like, especially if you're single. Like, I mean, you have to have yourself together. You need to be whole within yourself before
Yes.
you can
Amen.
even give someone else love or be loved.
Yes.
Because someone can come into your life and really absolutely love you, cherish you, you know, be all these great things, but because
You
you're
don't
so
know how to
damaged,
receive
like
it.
this has happened to me
Yeah.
times. You know,
Yeah.
I can sit here and honestly say that I've encountered some really, you know, horrible guys that have done some really horrible things, but I'm not one of these women that are gonna sit here and say all men aren't good. I've encountered some good men, you know, and I can honestly say I have been in a situation where it was just like, okay, I don't know about this now, because you know it's so foreign to me to see somebody that's a good person, you know, that like
Yeah.
you're so used to these toxic situations or these toxic relationships, and you know you just get used to it, and it's scary when you really meet someone who could possibly be a good person or the right person, and it's like, well, dang, am I gonna be the toxic one now? Like, am I gonna hurt them? You know, like
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
don't ever know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's why for me, like that's why I got into therapy, because I got so many demons, you know, and skeletons and just things that I've dealt with from down, you know, when I was a kid that affected my life and that, you know, made me make a lot of, you know, bad decisions and be in, you know, bad positions. And so I just decided it was finally time for me to become whole with myself. Like, you know, I talk to God, I have a great relationship with God, and I truly believe in him, but it's also important to sit down and talk to someone who's you know, physically there in front of you that you can talk to, that you know, that has doesn't have a, you know, isn't biased. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, you know, and they can give you like an opinion from the outside looking in, you know. So
That's great.
And I can't speak for all males, but I will say what I noticed, me being a Latino male, I think a lot of us Latino men will be like, therapy, come on, man, let's just deal with it. Let's move on, you know. Hey, whatever happened yesterday happened. It's done with. Let's move forward. But then there's this cycle, you know, and things will be good for a while.
That's right.
But then, pow, there it is. There's that trigger, and it happened again.
Yes.
And so one of the things Sylvia and I talked about was getting into therapy, you know, getting into some counseling and stuff. And not that things were like way out of control, but just for the things that
Yes.
are there,
Yes.
so they don't grow bigger and turn into something else. And then
And
we're,
to also
then
be
we're done.
proactive.
That's
Because
perfect.
you don't necessarily have to
Come
be,
on.
I mean, it's about being proactive. Let's go and get some tools to make sure that we don't,
Amen.
you know,
It's
so
an
that when we do
investment.
encounter these challenges and these experiences, we know how to handle them. You know,
Right,
that's what it's
right.
all about. Like, people feel like, I don't need counseling,
Being
I deal with it
healthy.
myself. But a lot of people, I mean, these people are trained. They've been to school. They've learned things about the brain and about the mind and just about life that if you haven't been to college, you haven't learned. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
these people do know what they're talking about, and they can give you tools to help deal with things as you encounter them. So it's like, it's about being proactive. Don't just react. Don't get into a situation where like, oh, now I need therapy. I'm so depressed and I don't even know if I'll be able to come out of this.
Right.
Go get therapy so that you can be proactive and get your mind right and keep your mind right, so that when
Exactly.
you get into a situation where you encounter
Yeah.
a challenge or an experience, you know that
Got
this
tools.
is just
Yeah.
a temporary storm, and I'm gonna get through this, and you have the tools that you need to get
Right.
through.
We
Yeah.
all need help. We all
We all
need help. We all, and I
Going back to the tough thing, I think as men, sometimes as men we can be that way. We'd be like, hey, you know what? We got this. We don't need somebody telling us what to do. We got this. We
You
know
know,
what we
we
need
can
to
ask
do.
for help,
You know,
right?
and you know what? You go to church. You get on some online stuff that you listen to that sounds good, and it is good, and,
Yes,
and it helps
yes.
you and stuff. And you kind of think you use logic. That's the way us men are. But women are different breed, you know.
Oh, yeah,
They're
men are
very
different.
emotional.
Yes, we
And
are.
so,
Yes. Yes, it's
very
okay to say
emotional,
that, yeah.
and God designed the man to be stronger, but at the same time we have to learn to get on that level with him and say, hey, you know what? I need to hear her out.
Yes.
I need to hear her out, and if she thinks therapy's the route to go, because maybe I'm just hearing things one way, and I need to hear it from
Hey,
somebody
man,
else.
Ooh, that
And-
goosebumps. Go ahead, y'all. Look.
We got this on recording, y'all.
Yeah, well, the whole thing.
But no, you're a man, you're the leader. And here's
Yeah.
the thing, if she's gotta be as strong as you gotta be strong, then you're gonna fail. But if you say, no, I want to lead my woman to get help. I wanna show her that being the leader, I still need help, meaning I need a helpmate.
Or even
Come on.
necessarily like maybe you do as the man feel like, oh, I don't need this, I don't. But if you're a woman, if you're in a relationship and you are in love with your woman and you respect her, you love her, you want nothing more than to see her happy, you will say, you know what, if this is what makes you happy, fine, I'll come. I'll come. And then you go for one session or something, and you might really be wild and really be like, wow, like dang, like this.
But that's
is-
what they're probably afraid of, right? Our men are afraid to get down into my feelings.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
you gon-
true.
It's okay, real men cry, baby.
Amen, amen. We probably should start wrapping up. Huh?
Yeah.
Woo! That was good, y'all. Real
That
talk.
was, we had touched on some great topics, and we all know that this was a real, a real life changer for everyone. And coronavirus is still being spread. They've opened businesses back up. They're starting to open the world up slowly but surely. And I'm not even gonna lie, I've stepped out. I've been in the mall. I've been in a restaurant. So I'm not gonna, sit here and act like I'm not one of those people that's, but it's like, we need to be safe. You guys, we have to keep practicing
Yes.
safety precautions. We need social distancing, like just because things are opening up and just because things look like it's starting to go back to normal and just because it's summertime, it ain't time for a hot girl and hot boy summer, okay? We need to,
Yes.
stay safe and make smart decisions and really think to yourself, how can I be better?
Yes.
Like how can I be better? That book that you were supposed to write, that idea that you have that's been sitting on a piece of paper that you haven't brought to fruition, that we have to make it happen, you guys. Don't let fear block your faith. It's time to step out on that faith and make things happen. We don't know when our time comes to an end, and you have to make every moment count.
Amen.
So let's,
Real.
go forward. Let's, come out of this pandemic better than ever. Whatever you're working on, just stay focused at it. Stay encouraged. Do not give up. Don't give up, because nothing worth having in life comes to you easily. So
And if God put it on your heart, He's gonna bless it.
God put it on your
Amen.
heart. He is definitely
Stay
going
in
to
the
bless it,
faith.
and
Stay
no
in
one
the
can
faith.
stop it.
Uh-uh.
So
No.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in to our first episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We're definitely going to be coming back every week with a new episode and a new topic. So make sure you guys continue to stay tuned.